Hi there, this is Grant Snitker, and this is tutorial video number 2 for CharTool. In this video, I'm going to go through everything you need to do in order to set up a video microscope, set the scale, and essentially get all prepared for quantifying some charcoal using CharTool. So to get started, this is the ImageJ toolbar, which we installed in the last video, in video number 1. So once we get this opened up, we'll go ahead and click here and navigate to the Launch CharTool macro. So we'll go ahead and click that, and then you'll see this icon appear here on the toolbar. Click that, and it'll give you a splash screen here. Once that goes away, then we'll see the main window for CharTool. So this is version 3.1-2, which is a developmental version. This is something that essentially I maintain just to sort of try new functionality out for CharTool. But really, this tutorial that I'm going through today will be applicable to all version 3s. So 3.0, 3.1, all of the latest things that are up on Zenodo or GitHub will be applicable to what I'm going through today. So anyway, we'll go ahead and start. You can see here we have 3 different modules. Today we're just going to be going through the charcoal fragment quantification module. Go ahead and select that and press OK. We'll then have an option to do a live video feed or to do a still image of a charcoal sample. I'm only going to go through the live video feed today, but if you do have a still image of, let's say, a petri dish that's backlit, or just some images of sediment or some zoomed in images of charcoal, you can go ahead and select the image, the still image module here. Much of the setup is very similar to the live video feed, but since I think most people are using the live video feed, I'll go ahead and give the tutorial focused on that today. So we'll go ahead and click OK, and it'll prompt us to connect to a microscope. We'll click OK there, and it'll bring up this ImageJ webcam plugin window. So I'll go ahead and move that out of the way. So you'll see here that the webcam plugin will automatically detect my built-in FaceTime HD camera here on my Mac. But what we want to do is select the Dynolight, which is our video microscope that's plugged in via USB. So we'll go ahead and select that, and then there's really nothing else we need to do with any of these other options. We'll go ahead and set some of these other calibrations when we do when we set the scale for our video feed. So go ahead and click OK. That will activate the microscope and then bring up a viewer window here, which is, as you can see, live. So we can manipulate that. We'll go ahead and move that out of the way, and we'll click OK, indicating that the microscope is connected. So then we have some options here to record our fragments using either a morphotype input option, which is a manual way to input the morphotypes of every piece of charcoal that we identify, or what we can do is do it without that morphotype input. If you want a little more information on this morphotype input option, you can go ahead and check out the 2020 Ethnobiology Letters publication that goes through sort of why I included this and how to use it. But today we're going to go ahead and just do without morphotype inputs. Go ahead and click OK. And then now it'll prompt us to install our macros and set the scale, or just install our macros. So macros are essentially all the individual little tools that we need to run CharTool. And so those always have to be installed. But this gives us an option right now to set the scale for essentially what we can see in this viewer, and basically allows us to tie pixels to real-world measurements that we can use to then sort of have real-world measurements of our charcoal. So we're going to go ahead and set our scale for this session. So we'll select that option and press OK. And now what we're going to do, essentially what I've got here is a little microscope slide that has a 1 millimeter measurement on it that I'm going to go ahead and put into our viewer here. So this is going underneath the microscope, but also within a petri dish. So essentially what I want to do is replicate all the conditions I'm going to have when I'm actually quantifying charcoal. So that's underneath the microscope in a petri dish. So you can see that there's 1 millimeter right here that we can see in the viewer feed. So I'm going to go ahead and, just as the instructions here say, draw a line that spans the entire 1 millimeter. Once I've done that, I'm going to click OK, and it's going to bring up this set scale dialog. So this is our known distance in pixels of that line I just drew. So it's a little over 86 pixels. But what we want to do is say our known distance is not 86 pixels, but instead 1,000 microns, or 1 millimeter. We're going to go ahead and make that a global scale and press OK. And then it'll give us the option to add a scale bar to our images. You can say yes or no. I'm going to go ahead and say yes. Click OK. And then we're going to give it a length of units that we'd like to have illustrated here. So I'm going to give it again 1,000 microns. And that'll go ahead and pop it up right there and give us our last sort of dialogue here. So really what this has done is that it's set basically the measurements within our video feed here to correspond to real world measurements. So this line we now know is 1,000 microns. And so when we go to quantify our charcoal, everything will be tied to real world measurements. And finally, this is our last dialog that pops up. And these are all of the key commands for using CharTool that I'll go through in tutorial 3 when we actually get down to using CharTool to quantify some charcoal. So we'll go ahead and click OK, and that will be the end of this video. So we've got everything set up in order to use CharTool to quantify some charcoal. So I'll catch you in the next video where we'll go through exactly how to do that. So stay tuned for that. Thanks.